Hello and welcome to Jason Live. My name is Patrick Shea. And we're back once again with our STEM role model series where we connect you with role models in science, technology, engineering, and math. Today's STEM role model is Miss America 2014, Nina Davuluri. Before winning the America pageant, Nina graduated from the University of Michigan with a degree in brain behavior and cognitive science. She's an advocate and spokesperson for STEM education, particularly for young women. We're going to learn about her passion for STEM in just a moment. But before we do, I want to remind all of you out there that today's event is live and interactive. You can use the box just below this video window to send us questions and participate in our polls. We'll try to get as many of you involved in today's program as we can. And right now, it's time to get Nina involved. Welcome, Nina. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you. So I know some folks out there may be wondering if this is a science program, why are we connecting with Miss America? Can you make that link for us, both in terms of you personally and the Miss America organization?
Absolutely. So the Miss America organization is very much scholarship and service based. So every young woman competing in this organization is earning scholarship money to put towards her college education and even towards graduate school education. So for myself, we also have the Miss America organization also has a partnership with promoting STEM education, specifically women in science, technology, engineering, and math. And so, one of my roles this year that I will be doing is working closely with the U.S. Department of Education, various organizations such as yourselves, to promote STEM education and talk about my own experiences with STEM growing up and how I'm going to continue to use that after this year.
That's great. So I mentioned we've got a lot of live questions coming in. We've also received some questions before the event started, and they're going to ask you all about all of these things that we just mentioned. And we're going to take our first one right now. This actually relates to what you were just mentioning about the scholarship money. Miss Carrillo's sixth grade class. They want to know, why did you choose to compete in beauty pageants to earn money for college? I wonder if they've answered their question in their question.
Well, actually, I chose to compete in the Miss America organization. And what really sets apart the Miss America organization from any other system or beauty pageant is that we are so scholarship driven. And we compete in 5 different phases of competition, from the interview portion, which is you sit down with a panel of up to 7 judges, and they can ask you any question for 10 minutes, which is so valuable walking into any job interview and learning how to communicate, as well as we also have a talent portion of competition. And I have been a dancer my entire life, so being able to share my talent on a stage like Miss America was something that was really important to me. And through this organization, I started in the teen program, and from the teen program alone, I won $25,000 in scholarship money. And because of that money, I was able to graduate debt free from the University of Michigan.
That's huge. We know that college tuition is really, really expensive, and any bit of scholarship you can get to put towards that, it's huge. We're going to take another question here from our audience. This one is from John. He asks, what is the thing you like most about being Miss America that's related to STEM?
Well, of course, first and foremost, being able to actually work with the Department of Education, and discuss ideas as to how we can implement STEM, and really bring it to a forefront in our educational system. And also working with women, particularly in STEM, because that's such a lacking, there's such a need for women in those fields. Other than that, it's also really amazing because it's not only myself who's promoting it as Miss America, it's the entire organization. So we had every single state title holder. There were 60% of us on the Miss America stage that competed this year that were involved in STEM related fields. So it's not only myself, this is happening throughout the entire country because of the title holders and the quality of young women in the Miss America organization.
We've got a related question here from Miss Kendria Johnson. She wants to know, how can we educate, excite, and maintain a healthy, ambitious curiosity for our girls in STEM?
One of the things that was somewhat difficult for me, that I'm just being exposed to this year, is to really think outside the box in terms of what careers you can do with STEM. I think a lot of people really think that it's only about engineering and being a doctor or computer program, things like that, which are all really great careers, of course. But I actually was able to do a tour, a visit to the headquarters of Whirlpool in Michigan, and uh, one of the persons that I met with, she was actually behind the entire design of Whirlpool, whether, with the colors, the kind of feel behind it, which was really incredible. Also, one of our sponsors I was able to visit. Is a cosmetic sponsor, and I was taken into the lab, and we made our own lip gloss in a lab together. And so these are all STEM related fields that not many people will realize is actually a career. So there's so much more that you can do at STEM than people think.
And that's a big theme of our program as well. So thanks for bringing that up. We talk with a different STEM role model every week, and the diversity of careers out there and possibilities is massive. So something for everybody in STEM. Our next question here is from Patty. Patty wants to know, what do you think are the best ways to engage elementary teachers and students so a strong intellectual foundation in science and math can be developed and encouraged?
For me, it didn't necessarily, math came really easy to me, but science was something that was a little more difficult. But I really had an amazing fifth grade teacher to this day who I will always remember, who took the time, and I think this could be solved with smaller classrooms perhaps, but really took the time to encourage me, to really help me understand in different ways, different teaching methods. And that really helped me find a way to learn science in a way that I could understand it and be excited about it. So I really think it's a combination of our teachers and finding different learning techniques.
And how old were you when that teacher who had such a big influence on your career, how old were you when that took place?
I was 10 years old in fifth grade, Mrs. Pastelli.
Well, hopefully she's watching and
I
feels
hope
good
so.
about her motivation and inspiration. We're going to take our first video question of the day. This is from Sophie and Samantha.
What's the coolest part of your job?
What is the coolest part of your job?
The coolest part of my job is definitely being able to meet so many different people. As Miss America, it really is a full time job because I'm constantly traveling from one city right to the next. I'm usually in no place longer than 48 hours, and I'm traveling on average 20,000 miles a month. So I'm meeting so many different people from all across the country, and it definitely keeps things exciting.
We've got another question here. This is from Montana. How do you remember everything to do as a scientist and as Miss America? So, you're doing all this travel, you have all these events, you've got all this responsibility in your year of service. How do you juggle it all?
Oh, absolutely. Well, actually, when you're Miss America, you take the year off, because we call it a year of service. And I will serve this year as Miss America, speaking about different things, as well as my platform among many other service organizations. But from the science field, I've really learned how to document everything and stay organized, which is one of the most important things in any lab.
Perfect. We're going to go in a slightly different direction here. We want to talk about your undergraduate experience and what you were studying there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we have some questions related to that. Clearly, people have been doing their research and learning about you. So what did you study when you're at the University of Michigan, and how does that relate to your future direction?
Right, yeah. My degree from University of Michigan was in brain behavior and cognitive science. I had a Bachelor of Science degree, and it was really a mix of psychology and neuroscience. And it was something that I really enjoyed. I loved learning about the human brain, anatomy as well. There were some classes that I took, and I was also a pre-med student, so I finished all my pre-med requirements in hopes of attending medical school. So that's something that I will be looking forward to in the future.
We've got some brain-related questions here from Addison, Samantha, and Jesse. Addison wants to know, why do you study the human brain? And I think you just touched on that. Samantha and Jesse want to know, what is the coolest part of the brain?
I studied the human brain just because I just loved learning about why we think the way we do, how different or why different people are different from one another. It was just so fascinating to me to learn about, essentially what, controls our body. And so that's why I chose to study that.
We've got a video question here from Matthew. More questions about the brain. Here it is.
What have you learned about the human brain so far?
Well, I've learned quite a bit.
I bet.
Here's but one of the coolest things that you guys might be able to relate to that I thought was that I when I learned I thought was cool that that the left side, so your brain is divided into two hemispheres, and the left side actually controls the right side of your body, and the right side actually controls the left side of your body. So I thought you would think it'd be the other way around, but it's not.
All right. You mentioned that you were pre-med, and I think we've let folks know that you're interested in pursuing a medical degree and being a doctor. We'll talk more about that in a sec. But we have a video question here from Devin. We're going to check that out right now.
Do you only work on the human brain?
So, is that all you work on? Is the human brain, or all you studied when you were in college?
No, definitely not. We did a wide variety of things. I also did a lot of physics and organic chemistry, also chemistry, just general chemistry and biology. So I learned all about the human body, the laws of our universe in physics as well. So did a lot more than just the brain.
A lot more than just the brain, but we've got one last brain-related question here. This one is from Blake.
What's the human brain look like inside if you've seen it?
I have not seen a real human brain from the inside. I've seen pictures of it, but I did get to dissect a sheep brain and got to get in there. But it's a very neutral color and it's really slimy.
Okay. We're going to go back to the text questions now. This is related to your future career as a doctor. They want to know, what kind of medical work do you want to pursue?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm not 100% sure yet. Obviously, I did study a lot about the brain. So, psychiatry is something that is on the radar. But I've heard that once you actually are in medical school, my sister's a third year medical student right now, that you kind of find your niche once you actually get your hands on experience. So, definitely keeping my options open.
All right, we're going to switch gears yet again and talk about career path. And, we've talked a lot about your college career. We've talked a little bit about kind of before that, what drove you into this direction. And we've got a couple questions here from our audience. Sanjeev and Rachel want to know, when did you get interested in science? And Alicia wants to know, 10 years ago, do you think you would be doing what you were doing today?
Well, I first got really interested in science, I would really say about fifth grade. And the thing is it's really interesting because ever since I was young, I think I was so pushed towards the science field because of my family. My entire family is very science oriented, somehow involved in the healthcare field. And so it was just something that I was constantly surrounded by. But it wasn't until about fifth grade that I really found an interest in it and learned ways to understand it better, really. But I didn't really decide I wanted to go to medical school until 2 years ago. So my entire journey of actually culminating into deciding that maybe becoming a physician is what I wanted to do didn't happen until very recently. And 10 years ago today, 10 years ago, I definitely did not think that I would be here doing this. So to see how you can always plan for one thing, but life will take you in a million different directions.
Cool. We've got a question now from Krishan and Sean. How much work did you do after school, I'm assuming they mean after college here, to be where you are right now?
I actually did a lot. So my path isn't necessarily what you would consider normal. I graduated from Michigan, and I actually did a post-bac program. A post-baccalaureate program is where students can take their additional pre-med courses requirements and finish them. So that's what I did because, like I said, I didn't decide I really wanted to go until later. So I finished my pre-med requirements after college, and then I also took the MCAT then. So I took about a year and a half to finish all of that and finished that last year and then competed for Miss New York and Miss America because I found myself in a situation where I was applying for medical school but didn't necessarily have the means to pay for it. And so one of the ways, again, to pay for it was through the Miss America organization. And I won $60,000 to put towards that.
All right. I think this is a great time to jump into our first poll question, which is actually directly related to that point. So get ready for that right now out there. Our first poll is, how much scholarship monies has Nina earned through the Miss America organization? She just threw out a figure right there. It is not one of the choices. So it's actually a different option here. Is it A, $11,000? Is it B, $31,000? Is it C, $51,000? Or is the grand total D, $91,000? So take a moment there and vote. As our audience is voting out there, Nina, I am able to see the results as they come in. So it's pretty evenly distributed at the moment. But the majority, 50%. Oh, actually, yep, 50% think 91,000. 51,000 has a bunch of votes as well, and then just a few for 11,000. But they pretty much think it's either C or D. So why don't you tell us what the correct answer is?
Yes. The correct answer is D, $91,000 I've won throughout competing in this organization. And every single penny of that money will go towards my education. They don't just give me a cash amount. All of that is paid directly to the institution towards my degree, which is really incredible.
Great. So let's move on to our next poll question here. We've talked a lot about this at this point, but we'll see how closely they were paying attention. We want to know, what degree did Nina earn from the University of Michigan? Is it A, a BS in biomedical engineering? Is it B, a BS in brain behavior and cognitive science? Is it C, a BS in neuroscience? Or is it D, a BS in biopsychology, cognition, and neuroscience? So a lot of things that are certainly all related, and they all kind of sound alike. Were you paying attention at the beginning of this program when we said actually exactly what her degree was in? We've got answers coming in now. Ahead by a wide margin at this point is B, brain behavior and cognitive science. We'll see if that holds up. We've got a few people guessing neuroscience, but for the most part, I think folks are paying attention out there. Nina, what's the correct answer?
It is B, brain behavior and cognitive science.
Excellent. So help us just kind of distinguish between some of those different options, because again, they're all related, but what's the difference between them, and why did you go for the one that you did?
I really liked mine. I know you said a couple had neuroscience in there, but I really loved that my degree was really encompassing of also neuroscience and psychology as well. For a little bit, I was really interested in, I was thinking about getting my PhD in psychology, so I loved having both aspects of that in my degree.
Excellent. And do you think you're going to do anything with psychology in the future?
I would hope so. We'll see what happens.
Just a little bit of personal history. I was also a psych major and thought I
Oh.
was going to go on and do psychological research, and I did not. I,
Oh.
I went into STEM education instead. All right, we're going to go to our third poll question here. You guys have absolutely no way of knowing this, so this is a pure guess. Just going to do it for fun. What is Nina's pet dog's name? Is it A, Vishnu, B, Rama, C, Krishna, or D, Hanuman? So while we're waiting for some results to come in there, Nina, what are we looking at here in this list of available options for your pet's dog name? They're all
So,
related in some way.
yes, they are all related. So, my mom is very religious. I come from a Hindu household, and these are all names of Hindu gods. And so, she believed that if we name our dog after a Hindu god, it would bring the spirit and blessing closer to us. So, that's kind of why we went that route. But I'll tell you a funny story after I give you the answer.
Okay. All right, we've got answers coming in. All of the answers have some votes. The leader at the moment is Rama B. Krishna is in second place. Hanuman is in third place. And it looks like as more votes come in, that's holding up. Rama is in the lead. What is the correct answer, Nina?
The correct answer is Hanuman.
Hanuman.
Yes. So my mom, like I said, believed if we said the name Hanuman, it would bring the spirit and blessing closer to us. But it kind of backfired because we'll yell at him and we'll say, "Bad Hanuman, no Hanuman." It didn't work out quite the way she wanted to. But as you can see, he's half retriever, half question mark. We're not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But he's 13 years old, so he's getting up there.
Yeah. He's a cutie. And we do have a photo here, not a photo, but an illustration of the deity Hanuman.
Yes.
He looks a little strange. Can you tell us about him?
Yes, he's actually known as the monkey god.
There you go. So one of the things that we haven't talked about yet, Nina, another aspect of your service, one of the things that you're passionate about is the element of cultural competency. Can you tell us what that is and why that's important to you?
Absolutely. My platform, every contestant in the Miss America organization has a cause that they promote and champion for their year of service. And mine is celebrating diversity through cultural competency. And I chose that because I grew up with a lot of stereotypes and misconceptions about my culture and everything that existed within. And I remember even in fifth grade, I wouldn't tell my peers and my friends that my dog's name is Hanuman because I was so fearful that they wouldn't understand it or know what it was. And it really just starts with an open line of communication and just sharing your culture with other people. And I always welcome questions, encourage other people to ask questions about my culture because that's definitely the only way that they can learn.
Awesome. And we're seeing here, during, we had mentioned this before, I believe, but the talent portion of the competition, you did a Bollywood style dance. And I'm
I did.
guessing that was probably the first time in that particular competition that folks had seen this.
Yes, this was the first time that Bollywood had ever been performed on the Miss America stage. And so it was really just such an honor to represent not only myself, but my culture and share a huge part of who I was with all Americans.
Excellent. And again, kind of relating this back to STEM, why is it important to have a diverse STEM workforce? Why is it important for folks of all kinds of backgrounds to get into science, technology, engineering, and math?
Right. Well, we can all learn from one another. And that's what I really like about cultural competency is that it's not simply about opening a discussion about race. It's really about having engaging hands-on activities. And that's what I primarily do with students in schools. We do different activities such as either learning a dance or trying a different cuisine or a different language. Things like that really help them get engaged, break those barriers, and learn from one another. And essentially, America is known as the melting pot of the world. So it's so important to cultivate all of our strengths, our talents together to build that more inclusive society.
Well said. We're going to get back to the questions now. This one is from Mrs. Bound's class. She wants to know, what's your advice for young women eager to enter the sciences as a profession? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I would say explore every opportunity that you have. I think a lot of times there's so many resources that your high school has, that your teachers have, that are at your fingertips. The internet obviously is a great resource, but these are all, there's so many opportunities and programs, after school things, groups, clubs, organizations that can really help cultivate those STEM careers.
We've got a couple of related questions here from Miss Carrillo's sixth grade class and Sydney. They want to know, why did you decide to attend medical school with your scholarship money? And what field would you be studying, and what made you want to become a doctor in the first place?
Well, I had always been involved in my community, and like I said, my entire family was somewhat involved in the medical profession field, and so it was something I really shied away from at first because I wanted to be different, and that's fine, that's absolutely okay. But what it really came down to is that I knew that service was very near and dear to my heart. That's what the Miss America organization is about, and one of the things that I get to do this year is I'm a National Goodwill Ambassador for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And so I go into hospitals all across the country, and many times when I visit these children who have life threatening illnesses, who have been through dozens, if not hundreds, of treatments, to see them when I walk in, they don't necessarily know who I am or what I am, but all they think is that a princess has walked into the hospital for the day. And to see those genuine, heartfelt smiles on their faces and to brighten their day just, for even 10 minutes has really solidified just seeing that, knowing that service really can make a difference. And the ability to save someone's life is something that is so near and precious and a skill that not many people have. So that kind of drove me towards the medical field again. And it's something that I get to do throughout this whole year.
And they think you're a princess, I'm sure, because you go in with the, is it the tiara or the crown?
It's a crown,
It's a
yeah. So
crown.
I can understand why they get confused.
Now, do you wear those that for all of your events? You're clearly not wearing it today.
Right. It depends. Usually, when I'm doing interviews and things like this, especially speaking engagements and STEM related things, I don't necessarily like to wear it because I think people end up just looking at it opposed to listening
It's very
to what I'm
distracting.
saying.
All right, we've got more questions coming in. Jordan and Alexis are both wondering, do you have any time for yourself? And what do you like to do when you are not working?
I do have time for myself, not often, but usually my days off are travel days. So I am traveling usually from one city right to the next. But today, after this, I'm free, so I'm actually going to go to a yoga class after this, which I'm looking forward to.
Very nice. And where are you today?
I am in Washington, D.C., and then I am heading to Chicago bright and early tomorrow morning.
And that's where I am. Cool. Um, Jacob has our next question here. He wants to know, what are some important places that you have traveled to?
Oh goodness, I've been to so many. But I'd say one of my favorite places is obviously New York. I'm originally from New York, and so it's always nice to go home when I can and do different service work there. But I've just been, this entire year has been really incredible. I think my most memorable places are with Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and majority of that work has taken place in Orlando and DC, actually.
Very good. We've actually run out of time. I want to thank you, Nina, for joining us and sharing your STEM story with us. It's been really interesting and inspirational.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. If you've enjoyed today's webcast, excuse me, that should be me. If you've enjoyed today's webcast, be sure to come back next week. We are going to connect with cybersecurity consultant James Bryant. James has degrees in electrical engineering and industrial administration. He's put that education to use helping organizations implement technology, develop strategy, and improve operations. He's worked on projects for the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, the FBI, and many, many others. He's actively involved in increasing the numbers of minorities pursuing careers in engineering. So join us live next Thursday, January 30th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern to learn more about James and ask him questions about his STEM career. That is all the time that we have for today. Thanks for joining us. For Jason Learning, my name is Patrick Shea. We'll see you next time.